Welcome to this episode of the Customer Centric Retailing Podcast. This is Anil Patel, founder and CEO of Hotworks Commerce. In this podcast, we discuss e-commerce, omnichannel technology, pre-order management, brick and mortar operations, retail culture, innovation, and how all these elements come together to create customer-centric retailing. Join us to hear the brightest minds in the retail industry share their experiences and thoughts on the most relevant topics today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Customer Centric Retailing Podcast. You know what? Today we have a magician, Karrie Helm. She is the director of store at Evereve. When we go to these stores at Evereve, there's like a whole magic, the customer experience, that whole magic of shopping that happens. I'm really excited that I got this chance to talk to the magician behind that store. Karrie, thank you very much for being on our podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You know what? Generally, with your long experience and all that you have done, I personally like to talk about your journey because I'm always interested in sharing content that helps, inspires next generation, people who want to do something magical like you, who look forward to doing something what you are doing. So tell us about your journey, those hard and fun moments that would inspire our audience.
Yeah, no, happy to share. I think like many people, I got into retail, didn't really anticipate getting into retail. I know a lot of us kind of dive into it, but I started in retail in college. I always say in college, if you have to work, you either wait tables and you usually work in a restaurant or you work in retail. And I always loved fashion growing up. I always loved shopping, and retail seemed like the right space to go into. So worked part-time through college, but really where my career started was with my current employer, Evereve. In my mid-20s, about almost 14 years ago, I started in my hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan, as an assistant manager in that store, and very quickly knew like this company is really different. They talk about not only profit, but purpose. There's a real balance of conversation about purpose and profit together. There's this huge focus on the customer experience and really serving the customer, supporting the customer, moving that customer forward in fashion, and in the realm of specialty retail, also doing something really unique where we take a lot of different brands and a lot of different vendors, and we have our own brand as well, and curate like a really great selection of product into our location. So very quickly I realized like this isn't like any other company, and I think I want to do something here. I think I want to move forward. So I went to my store manager and said, teach me how to do your job. And before you know it, I just kept asking my leaders, teach me how to do your job, teach me how to do your job. And, you know, I opened a new location for us 12 plus years ago now, our 26th location. I was the store manager. I became a regional director in Ohio and then up in Minnesota, which is where our flagship and our home office is. And now as senior director of stores out of Minneapolis, we have about 108 stores. We have 2 more opening before the end of the calendar year. We have more next year. And so I get to partner with regional directors and really help the store operations and mostly kind of that in-store experience and support that and be a liaison between our home office partners and our store teams to support scaling that experience from, you know, the 20 plus stores when I started now to well over 100 and growing.
Awesome. This is really good. And you know, many things you mentioned got my attention. Particularly, I like the point you said, like it's a purpose and customer, like, you know, helping customer make their buying decisions, move them forward in the fashion. So that is really interesting because, like, you know, we see all these fashion brands, definitely, you know, people have like so much stock in the store. And when I go with my wife in these stores, I'm like lost. And at that point I'm saying, well, you know, let me sit on this chair and you go do whatever you want. And also the other thing is like really when we go to a specialty, one single fashion brand store, their style and all those very quickly it becomes monotonous and you don't find anything really new and all that. And that's when you go to like big departmental stores. When you go to a big department store, your shopping experience is like hell. I mean, like personally for men, who always accompanies my wife. For me, I know it's not fun for her either. But like trying to get some variety, trying to get like, help, it's hard. It's hard. So that purpose that you talked about, helping your customer, working with them, having fun, that is particularly so interesting. And I believe that's exactly why you don't see people sticking to one company, working through from store assistant store manager through the senior director of retail. That's hard. Not you don't see them those things often. You did it means there's something good, really powerful about the company, and there's like an alignment between what you want to do and Evereve is intended. So like, thank you. Yeah, this is great actually, and definitely, let's get to 110 stores and then beyond. Actually, that'd be awesome.
Yes, yes.
Cool. At the same time, like, I have worked with a few retailers, particularly who do a lot of curation and then, work with customers, helping them, make the selections, who are like stylists and all that. And it's not easy because you have to know your customers so well. Also, like, it gets complicated when you have multi-brand. So something challenging. When you are working with your team, do you see almost everybody in your team get in the job and like stick to it? I mean, like there's so much employee turnover, like, it's hard to get them people to stick to the job, train them and deliver the good experience. So I'm like, tell me about that magic of customer experience that you deliver. It can be easy, but there has to be something super like unique about your approach that you are able to do it and grow your store network.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up. I think it's interesting because you're not wrong in this, in this world of retail, there tends to be a lot of turnover. There's a lot of options out there for places you could work. And in full, honestly, what we do, that very high touch customer experience, is fairly unique these days. If you come from a retail background, you're spending a lot of your times in store operations and merchandising and just really kind of that, open to close kind of systems and process of running your business. And what we tell people when they come to Evereve is like, no, now you're on the styling floor. You're connecting with customers, you're styling customers, you're, really using this product. And so I think the interesting thing is we do have incredible tenure. You look across our leaders at Evereve and it is not, we have actually at our home office, we have a whole tenure wall where anyone who's worked with us, part-time or full-time, from 5 years on up. We actually are about to turn 20 in November. We will have been open 20 years. We have these pictures on the wall and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And we have some people who have worked part-time with us for 18 plus years. A lot of our senior leadership, we actually, all of our senior leadership. So from our market leaders, which we have leaders who we call market managers who maybe have a small local 3 to 4 stores, to our area directors who have more, to our regional directors, all of that growth happens internally. And I think that the least tenured person we have at that level is like 7 to 8 years with Evereve. So you just keep seeing people that want to be here because a few things. I think one, because we are so clear with what we stand for. And we believe so firmly in that customer experience, and it's fun, right? Like you're talking about going shopping with your wife and how it can be difficult. It can feel really one note depending on what you're shopping. If you want to kind of diversify what you're putting on your body and how you're styling yourself, you have to go to a department store, then maybe you don't get help. And so it's fun. The people who work for us love taking these individual shopping and learning about their life and learning about their body type and learning about what they love to wear and really help move them forward. So it is fun. And you keep that really keeps people wanting to be here. The other thing I get asked all the time, because I'm really fortunate, I do these last interviews for all of our store managers. So I get to meet everyone who might become a store manager with us. I'm kind of their last point. And they always ask me, which I love, what do you love about Evereve? You've been there for so long. And what I always share is that we are a smart, agile business that is consistently evolving based off of what the customer needs, what we see in the marketplace when it comes through the lens of what the customer is looking for. But we started this organization with a set of values that have really grown. And that's pretty phenomenal that I've been here almost 14 years and they're packaged differently. We call them something slightly different now. They're easier to teach. We have them kind of wrapped in that acronym of HEART. But we really speak to values and we speak to it. We've had them ingrained in us since day one. You take those great personal values, their humility and empathy and authenticity, relationship tenacity, and you instill that in not only the customer serving experience, but the employee experience. And we tend to find people who really want to stick around because we work really hard. And that's hard. It's hard to scale and maintain that and maintain an experience store to store to store. But I think that we have done a really, really great job because we've always known what we stand for. We've always known who we're styling, like who our core customer is, what that customer needs to move themselves forward in their fashion, what goes back to that, how we curate product a little bit and how we determine what our assortment's going to look like. But we also know what we want people to feel like when they're in our stores. And that's not just our customers coming in, but that's our employees. So we work really hard to maintain that.
Yeah, this is interesting for sure. Like, what you said is so much, particularly that core values, because that keeps that clarity, like employee, every person in the company knows what exactly we have to do. Because in real life, we don't always are working with a recipe. It's like you have to work with the real life situation and life throws you whatever. And it's like every other experience is a new experience. And so you have to be able to make those clear, cool judgment. And with those core values at heart, that is exactly how you can make it possible. And so, yeah, and I really like it. So this is great.
I do too.
Yeah, actually. Also, like, shopping experience, again, that is, you have to make, people like get overwhelmed these days very quickly. Back in the day, our lives were slower than what it is today. And so helping them in a decision-making process is important. And I see that, transcend theme boxes, that idea, that's interesting actually, because it gets you good start. And then probably you can take it from there, try out something and all that. So that is interesting. And that kind of, reminds me of back in the day, we used to have those print catalogs that would, get mailed in, and we would use those. I would always, when I come home from work, I would see my wife browsing through them and all that. We lost that physical touch. Like definitely, we go to store, but like, at home, it's mostly now phone and your TikTok and social network. So, that's where, this whole activity is like, what my brand is carrying, next season collection is going to be. And then when you go in the store, you can really physically experience, talk to the stylist and all that happens. So, tell us about how your company has evolved over the last 20 years, particularly when, physical retail, and then definitely, you do like a print catalog, but then you have like all this e-commerce and mobile commerce and all that. So tell us about how you have managed all these different channels, particularly with your curated catalog, which is hard at that point.
Yeah. It's interesting because 20 years ago, brick and mortar was always kind of the star of the show. And 20 years later, it still maintains that for our customer. It still is our largest channel of revenue. Our customers usually find us in store before they find us elsewhere. I mean, things have definitely shifted over the years. What we find that's really interesting is a majority of our customers kind of shop us always, right? So they shop us online. They shop, you kind of referenced our Transcend, our personal styling subscription box service. They shop us in store. They really like all of our channels. In most recent years, what I find the most interesting, to your point, these print catalogs, we didn't have print catalogs. We had our brick and mortar and we had our website for years. Print catalogs are still a fairly new thing. We've been doing them for a handful of years now, but they're still fairly new in the 20 years of Evereve. And they have been shockingly one of the best ways to market our product. That's what I hear the most when I'm in stores. I saw the catalog. When we have a catalog that comes out, no doubt for 2 weeks after, we see an increase of sales in every channel, omni channel. Our customers love it. They love getting that book in home. They love looking through it. Our social media has been a really beautiful place for us to show. I think everything goes back to showing and serving that we curate these modern trends. As I think I've mentioned, our whole mission's to move women forward in their fashion and in their life. And so it starts with a catalog by having really inspired, forward, very modern looks of how we're currently styling. I mean, I dress very differently now than I did 13 years ago because the trend has changed and we really work to keep up with the trend. Then our social media can show that, but we actually have on social media, we call it EETV, our Evereve TV, and there we have a lot of different personalities they're people who work with us. It's, people who do our styling and our catalogs, and our CEO has something on there. My boss, who's our chief of stores, has this styled with the modern exec. One of our visual leaders, she does some of the work on there. And that's how we really get the story of styling alive into these phone hands of our customers. And then Trends End, I couldn't think of a better way for us to say as a styling company, how do we help that customer who does prefer an e-commerce approach? And we give them a curated box. It's not done with an algorithm. It's not done on a computer like some others. It's truly, we have physical stylists in our stores and we have some in our warehouse that read these profiles, that look at what these customers, what their life is like, what their body is like, what their preferences are. And they're physically grabbing this product and they're physically putting it in a box, which is very different, but it has helped to really impact the unique experience that our customers have, and they feel that personal touch. So I think what's interesting is I think when you hear about research and you hear like brick and mortar is dying, or, it's all just about using, technology. And don't get me wrong, technology has continued to help us grow to where we are. We will continue to evolve alongside it. But what we find over and over and over again is our customer loves that personal feel. And so whether it's they get the physical catalog and they're talking about that and that's driving them somewhere, to seeing our personalities on our social media, getting a physical box, or then, again, our brick and mortar business is still our largest channel. We do a majority of our performance through our brick and mortar stores. And so it's interesting because I think that there's a stigma again about retail is all digital, and I don't think it is for everybody.
Yeah, that is true. And in fact, working with so many retailers and talking to so many retailers, this is consistent. What you said is that if your retail, when your brick and mortar is the major source of your revenues, and like you said, for obvious reasons, customer wants to come in and talk to human. With these days, this whole AI thing, sometimes these days I end up on chat asking them, are you AI or a human?
Yeah, I know. And it's only going to grow and grow and grow from there. It will be very interesting to watch as that continues to evolve.
Right. And particularly when you said there are real humans who are observing, taking a look at, analyzing the customer's buyer's profile and putting together that box, keeping in mind what my customer wants, what their body type and all their preferences and all that. That's important. But then, how many how many people or companies out there do it actually? So I'm really happy that you guys take time to do that. And for exactly this reason, brick and mortar retail is not going anywhere. In fact, if anything, it is going to just grow. You have to know how to do it right. You cannot like departmental store, just stuff item and expect that things will sell. So that's not going to work. People are looking for, actually, buying is getting complicated. So you need help. There are like so many options and all that. So you need help, and that's when you need a real qualified help. And so your stylists, they actually make it easy and help navigate that whole difficult process. So which is very important. When you do all these retail on this physical store and there's so much happening, your associates are engaging with the customer. These days, we also talk to many retailers and they talk about like many acronyms and buy online, pick up in store, BOPIS, buy online, return in store, BORIS, and then this whole new thing of using store inventory for fulfilling online orders, ship from store, and all that. So like, there are like all these new responsibilities that have been assigned to the store on top of what it is already, which is your brand experience center. Customer may come in, check out the product, may not buy it, but you still need that. So like, how is your store experience evolving? How are you adopting technology and various new experiences that many retailers have started to offer? What are your preferences on it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny when we were I was looking through and thinking through this. We've always had our stores as fulfillment centers. So we've actually done that since the dawn of Evereve time because, one, cost. It's really efficient, right? If I'm shipping something out, it's very efficient to ship it from the closest zip code. Two, honestly, for us, it's been really key to inventory management because we do buy from various vendors and we have stores from coast to coast. What it allows us to do is if something is a rapid seller in one space or online, but maybe it's a soft seller in a store for whatever reason, we can fulfill out of that store and really manage that inventory. And actually, we've had a few stores over time we haven't fulfilled out of because of space constraints or things like that. And there's such a backlog of inventory because we're not using them as fulfillment centers that it tends to actually create more issues down the line. We end up with more markdown and we end up moving some product around to get it in the right places. So that's not new for us. We've done that forever and it's been fantastic. Specifically helpful during the pandemic because we were able to really continue to employ a lot of our individuals and keep fulfillment centers going out of our stores. So there's been a lot of benefits to that. As far as buy online, pick up in store, buy online, return in store, we've again always done buy online, return in store. We want to create a situation that makes it easy as possible. And our goal is always get them in the store because when they're in the store is when they get connected to all those other benefits. Like our product's awesome. Don't get me wrong. If I wasn't an Evereve employee, it would be where I would first go to find all the brands I want, to be able to identify. It would be where I'd want to shop just as a consumer. We have incredible product and that really, really drives our customer. But going back to that experience, when you buy online and pick up in store, you buy online, return in store, you get to be face to face. You get to come in. And usually what we love when someone buys online and pick up in store, which is newer for us, that was something that we launched during the pandemic. What we love is then they're there and we can say, tell me more about this top. I was super excited to pull this top for you that you pulled online. Where are you envisioning wearing it? Tell me how you want to style that because it is about, I always used to say when I was a store manager, I never ever want one of the customers who shops in my store to be standing in their closet with one top and say, I don't know how I'm wearing this. Like that's what we love is I want them to be able to say, I wear this top with this bottom with this shoe, and then I can change it this way. And because that's the extra work that a lot of our customers don't always know how to do on their own. So if I buy something online, I pick it up in store, then I get the opportunity to say, let's talk about it. Let's style it. How are you wearing it? Sometimes they'll buy two sizes and they do it intentionally to come to us to say, okay, tell me what size I need, right? So they love that. They also know we do tend to move through product quickly. We get in product, we turn over really, really fast. That's how we keep fresh. That's how we move forward. So our customers who shop us a lot love that that's an option because if there's a top they see that they love, they're like, it could be sold out before I get to the store. They'll buy it, pick it up, and then like, okay, I bought this top. What am I wearing it with? How am I styling it? So there's this whole component that it's just good business, right? Because you're reducing shipping costs and you're impacting kind of what that bigger picture profitability that can come from some of those things. But really what we love is that it just, it continues to support that styling customer experience to be able to do that. Likewise, someone buys something online, they return in store. That's always a big indicator for us. Like, okay, you bought all these things online, you're returning them all. Tell me what drove you to buy this product because I want to help you. If it's not working for you, is it fit? Is it aesthetic? Is it how to style it? That helps us to take that customer, again, to move them forward, to really live out our mission. We can do a lot online, but we can do a lot more when we can talk to them. and really say like, what didn't work here? Because now we can help guide you to the right things that will work for you. And I think that that's really what makes a difference. I think if you're just doing it as a transaction, it's ease for the customer, but it's just a transaction. And that's fine for a handful of retailers, and that might be what works for them, but that's not what we stand for. And so it just, again, adds to that styling experience.
Yeah, this is great actually. Where, like you said, you've been doing all these cool things like ship from store, and return in store, and now even buy online, pick up in store. We are in the business of order management system, keeping track of inventory and helping retailers do all these ship from store, BOPIS, and all that. So I talk to retailers often about these products and how it can help business. Many times I get response that we cannot do it from the store. It doesn't make sense, and it adds so much work to the store. It disturbs the whole system and all that. So, well, definitely I haven't run the store, so I just take it. But with so excitement, you told about the details of exactly how it works and why everybody should be doing it, at least why you do it, and how it's having positive impact on business. So I'm really happy, at least, that makes me feel that I'm in the right business.
It is good. And again, it's part of our model. It's been part of our model since day one. It adds some payroll to the back of house, and it does add some complexity there, but it has really, I believe, makes a huge impact on the bigger picture kind of inventory management above and beyond. If you're looking from a business case, that inventory management is pretty significant.
And you agree that having all these new experiences actually helps helps the customer. It's not like coming in the way. It's just that the magic is like you have to manage the payroll right. You have to pick up the right people, put them in the right role, define the processes in the store. Now that's, again, you are expert, like you worked on the store floor, so you know exactly how the store operates, how you know your customers, so you know exactly what you need in the front and what needs to go in the back. And that's where makes the big difference for any brand, is like if their head of retail has so much experience, and they know their customer, but two, they're also technology forward, so they know exactly how to use technology and make money by using inventory and all that. So you have multiple brands, so keeping track of inventory is really hard. But then how with the ease, knife in the butter, like super easily you spoke, you were talking about it, and I was like amazed with how this whole thing goes. And so thank you very much. I'm really excited. Thank you. Yeah. So with the online retailing and then all this physical store, definitely these two channels help each other, especially in planning, like where should we open the next store. This is one other common thing comes up, is that the moment you open a retail location, the online store sales also shoots. Also, in your case, maybe catalog sales start shooting up also. So tell us about your choices of locations, and then when you are curating the catalog or the stock you have in these locations, I'm sure it has to do with the local culture, what people in that region wear and all that. So that's another level of complexity. Please help us understand how you do all that.
Yeah. Well, first, when it comes to kind of choosing our locations and how that impacts bigger picture, I think I shared when I started, I think we had 15, 20 locations. We now have 108. We'll have 2 more before the end of the year. We'll have more next year. There's a couple factors that we really look at when we're choosing real estate. The biggest is we first just kind of look at, we know our customer. We know the where they're living, the demographic of them. And so we want to be in an easy destination for them to come and find us. We do now have the benefit with such a robust, e-commerce business and our subscription business. We can see where that appetite is. So sometimes it's just, we know a store needs to be here. Sometimes it's, gosh, we see an appetite for this here. A lot of times it's that, we open a store in a location, for example, kind of that DC market, you'll see us in next year, and we're gonna really expand in a big way in that market. And so, you know, we try to get one store and open multiple, because we do find that once someone finds us, we want to be in their neighborhood. We want to be, you know, we have here in the Twin Cities, we have 9 stores, and I have the one that's closest to me. That's kind of my go-to, but then there's some regional malls and things like that, or there's, you know, larger stores that I might want to go into. So our goal is to really be in a place where our customer is shopping and spending their time. It does go hand in hand. When we add a location, we do add a lot of customers, and the benefit of that to all channels of business makes a big difference. But again, I think we just as much look for, we have, you know, like I think when we launched in our North Carolina, our Charlotte, North Carolina market, we already had like thousands of active customers, and that's been a new market for us. It's done really, really well. So we have a little bit of both. When it comes to curating product based off the location, really the biggest shift that we make is based off weather. We're Midwest, and so we tend to be in those Midwest, and Minnesota is not the warmest city in the world. And we've worked really hard over the last, handful of years to get our assortment right in our warmer and hotter weather climates. We have a lot of stores in Florida. We have a lot in California, Arizona, Texas. And so that's honestly the biggest differentiator, is more weather than anything. We have a real sweet spot of our customer, and they tend to, again, with our whole vision of moving a customer forward in their fashion, this is an individual who wants to stay modern. They want to stay current. They come to us to say, I think one of the biggest shifts in trend for women's fashion in the last, it's been probably 4 years now, has been the shift from a skinny jean to a wider leg jean. And we've been there, right? We have so many customers like, I know I'm not supposed to wear a skinny jean anymore. Like, how am I wearing it? Which again, skinny jeans are never out. No trend is ever out. It's always there, but it's just what's most relevant. And so our customer comes to us and they know that. So it's more about curating what's most current and modern than it is necessarily, well, this customer in this area likes this style aesthetic, and this customer in this aisle likes this style aesthetic. What we're really saying is our customer wants to remain modern and current. So we are going to curate what's modern and current based off of our core demographic. And we have an incredible buying team and merchant team and design team who do that for us. And then really the biggest shift is just based off weather. So in our warmer weather stores, they may not get as many sweaters through the winter or jackets. They may have more dresses. So that's been our biggest shift in how we kind of have products specific to a region.
Awesome. Really good. So last question I want to ask you before we wrap up this one is, in my personal experience, again, I go shopping with my wife, like she brings me along with her. So I go there, and one question, something that is really important, and I notice it when it's not done right. Sorry. But like something happens is like the associates will come and ask you, how can I help you? And most cases, the answer is like, oh, okay, I'm browsing. I mean, like at that point, you don't get that confidence, that trust that, this person can help me in any ways. I think the most difficult part, if I was there, let's say if I was the store associate, or in fact, in my own business itself, it's like asking the right questions or starting the conversation in a way that people don't feel overwhelmed, or they don't feel that you are getting into their space or thing. And still you want to become friends in a way, and then have the conversation move forward. It's hard, but then you in our conversation, definitely, you've said this few times that you engage your customers and all that. Please share that secret sauce. What's your framework? How do you actually go about training or getting all these people in the store to have great conversation with your customers?
Oh, I love that you bring that up, because that is probably when our stylists have the trickiest time. That's exactly it. So we actually teach them skills to keep them from getting the, oh, I'm just looking question. We teach them how to engage. And I love this because actually Evereve taught me how to engage in conversation with another individual. So we have our styling experience in stores. We teach under the acronym of HEART. So it's hello, establish trust, assess kind of what they're looking for, real styling, and then not just giving them sizes, but really styling them. And then, T is for thank and invite back. And so what we work to do through our training process that we've really fine-tuned in the last couple of years, even just last year, we built some beautiful video series for our employees who work for us. We teach it. We talk right about it. What questions do you ask to ensure that you don't get the I'm just looking or I'm just browsing, or to overcome it? And you kind of nailed it. The big thing I always say, I was actually just in the store this week teaching this and talking about it. And I said, when you get the wall, when you get the, oh, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing, I'm okay, it's because they see you as a salesperson. They don't see you as a real person. So you have to, first, we do hire people that really have that passion to get to know another individual. You have to really enjoy the idea of getting to know someone. And then from there, we teach them the questions, how to engage in a conversation and actually guide someone through and get them to see you as a real person versus a salesperson. But then how do we launch into teaching, showing what we do? So oftentimes when someone comes in, it's, for me, I always just say, hey, how's the day going? What do you have going on? And it's interesting because I sometimes go, oh, I'm just browsing. I'm like, so totally get it. Like, tell me more though. How was your day? You go into lunch, what'd you get, so you just kind of get to know them, and then you get an opportunity to dive into, we love to say, have we styled you before? And that's a very different response from have you shopped here? And also there are people who have shopped with us that have never been styled. So we tend to teach that, like, hey, have we styled you before? Tell me, and that is a beautiful space to segue, whether they have been styled or they have been in our store, to kind of segue into, here's what we got going on for fall. Like, let's teach you, what's going on for the current aesthetic for fall. And you shift into, oh, this person's a stylist. Like they're starting to talk about trend and what's modern and what's current. And so it is really embedded in the experience that we teach to everyone, whether they're working 2 shifts a week, filling in, or they're there full time. It's one of the very first things that we teach.
Awesome, Karrie. Thank you very much. This is just amazing. In the beginning, I said that you are a magician. Now I'm super convinced, 100%. You are a magician. This is not easy. So many different things you do. Your stores have so many roles and responsibilities, and it's like complicated, and you do it. Thank you very much. Like, that's like a really hard, and you have to have a real purpose-driven company, and the person has to have real passion to, work in such company and actually be happy to work with customer, because most of the time, more than often, they won't buy. And you have this pressure that you have to hit the sales target. So at that point, if you start thinking about sales, the whole thing is gone. The magic is gone. But having your sales associates, people on this floor, keeping that in mind and keeping them motivated and all that is hard. And you do it. So, wow.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I love what I do. I feel really lucky to do it. So thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much for being with us today. And I'm sure I enjoyed it. I'm sure people who are going to listen to this podcast are going to have so much fun. They are going to get a lot of value from this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Customer-Centric Retailing Podcast. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcast. Please rate and review and recommend to a friend or a fellow retail fanatic. This podcast is presented by Hotworks Commerce.